All righty.
Welcome to What's Troubling You with
Chantel.
and Charlene. We are blessed today to
Yes.
have someone that is very, 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 very needed to our community. Okay, this is Dr. LaTanya Bias, and this is her book. Lupus, It Chose Me.
Yes.
Her story. Now, we had her once before to come out,
Mhm.
and she talked, but we didn't get enough. And today we wanted to platform on her book. Now, what's the wonderful thing about this literary experience is the fact that it's her experience.
Right.
And she's able to share what she's been through. She talks about the medical background of this. She talks about the journey of this. So from multiple perspectives, this book shares with you that. And so we wanted her to come today to talk. So if you're experiencing this or you have family members who are experiencing this is a good read to understand, to empathize, to walk through the journey of someone who's walking through it. And even if you're the one who's experiencing it, she allows you to find hope and how to find a place where you can find normalcy in your life again, and even while living with lupus.
And find hope. She'll help you.
Yes, yes, yes. So welcome, Dr. Bias. We
Thank
want you to
you.
come in and talk to us.
Thank you so much. You guys, thank you so much for giving me this opportunity. You guys are a blessing as well, because there's very few people out there that, you know, as you well know, cancer is like a major thing, and we don't want to downgrade that. However, lupus is taking people out too. And it is in so many facets that people can't seem to understand, because when they're being diagnosed or when they're going for certain treatments or symptoms that they receive and they're not aware of, you know, the doctors go based on, okay, well, did you cough today? Or how many, you know, have you been out of the country? Or, you know, other things that they want to narrow down on their checklist in regards to finding out what the concern is when someone goes to get treated. And so today that's difficult for people that have autoimmune diseases in so many facets, you guys, because there's no way to really to determine the lupus. When I tell you it is the hardest thing to determine, I'm gonna tell my age, I'm 51 years old. This has been going on for over 30 years. And it took 20 years ago for them to say, technically, you have lupus. Now, some people, they're determining by doing a lot of tests, and they're coming up with great research, and then they'll say they're lupus free. But once you have an autoimmune disease, you have an autoimmune disease. It goes into regression. I mean, you know, goes into regression. So, or it you know, something that you're eating or drinking will help subside it so that it's not detected, but you will always have it. So some of the things that I feel that is important for everyone to really know in today's society when it comes to an autoimmune disease is that it's what you eat, it's what you do every day. And that's the only way that can slow it down, keep it in remission, keep it from you having flare-ups. And kind of my little key points is that's a day-to-day thing for me, you know, having SLE, DSL, either one, or now we have multiple other names because just like the shot, you know, they you got different variants. And each person is built differently. Each person's immune system is developed in so many ways based on our genes and what happens, and you know, and as you read in my book, the type of family I came from. So my environment played a major role with my health today, or, you know, 20 years ago. My environment, the things that we ate, all of that played a major role. However, if I would have known back then what I know now, then things probably would have been different. And that's how I think in some cases people tend to get diagnosed so later on, because eventually it's like they're in their minds narrowing things down. Okay, what did I do? I'm eating right, I'm working out, and I'm still fatigued. I'm still tired. I'm still, there's, so many facets still that we deal with and can't figure out why. So I wrote the book to tell the world that, hey, I too survived it. I'm still surviving it. However, I still have it. And there's days that I can go get tested and they'll go, you good. And then there's days it's like, you need to shut it down. And guess what? I wouldn't even know that. I've gone to the doctor on multiple occasions and they say your blood pressure is high. And I look like this and be like, hey, how you doing? Your blood pressure high. We want to take you to the hospital right now. And I'd be like,
Oh,
no.
wow.
Yeah, no, we're not going to do that. But your body is fighting good and bad cells. They can't tell good from bad. So you internally don't know what's going on until you feel it. And then when you feel it, it's too late. Okay. So I went to the doctor, got the blood pressure done, and that's when it's too late. But I wouldn't have known. So now I'm at the point where I have to check my blood pressure every day in order to monitor internally what's going on. So, but it's a lot, and it's a lot of your mindset and making sure that you tell yourself that you know that you can overcome this. You're going to wake up, you're going to put your makeup on, you're going to put your big girl panties on and get it and roll it. We're going to do this. We're going to make this happen. And it can happen. And that's why I wrote that book. I felt it was very, very important for people to understand it's a battle, and I'm not discrediting it. I have many a bad days, but you still, if you can lay down and look up, then you can get up.
Yeah.
You can get up.
That's right.
And that's why I wrote that book.
I want to start off with the beginning, because I too, like Chantel, am a highlighter. So I'll highlight. I'll do a highlighter. Okay. You talk about the invaders.
Oh yes.
We had the same idea.
Yeah. I'm one of those people who like to know the base knowledge. Give me base knowledge. I'm real interested in that. And you gave that when you talked about the invaders. Let's dive into that. Yeah, let's dive into that for a minute about the invaders. Because one of the things you said was invaders are invaders no matter how or where they come from. Okay. And the invaders, you said, as I speak of invaders, when I eat is when the real preying begins, when I consume various items and foods. And so let's talk about that.
Absolutely. So as I mentioned a minute ago, anything that you do, you breathe, you touch, you smell, because of course bacteria gets into your nose. The foods, mainly what you eat, is what I was referring to when we have invaders, because we don't know who touched it prior. We don't know how it was prepared, the process that it was prepared. And you kind of know that when you were back in the day and your mom cooked or your dad cooked, you kind of knew that, right? Or if you're cooking it yourself. But when I look back, when I was writing that book, I didn't wear gloves. I didn't clean off my wood boards to determine the meat that I put on there, that bacteria settled and was in there. And so when I say it doesn't matter, when it comes to our invaders is technically bacteria. You can't see it. You absorb it, you touch it. And once it get in there, we have no control. People with autoimmune diseases and people who don't. Your immune system can be a little stronger than ones who immune systems are tampered with, but you have no control and they take over. They take over. Wow. And I call them the invaders.
Yes. And it's funny because here we are in a pandemic still, okay? 2 years later, we're still in this place where we have to wear a mask, we have to clean the boards, we can't go out, eat places, we need to wipe things down, we need to wear gloves. I still wear gloves at the gas pump. I don't touch the gas pump because that's just nasty. And so I don't touch that, and I don't touch what do you call it? When you drive up at the ATM, I don't wear gloves.
The little keypads.
Yeah, I wear gloves because the person in front of me, I don't know what they've done,
They did one of these numbers or anything.
Exactly. Even when I'm at the grocery store, I may touch the keypad, but then I quickly have the sanitizer there, and I'm
Your hands are wipes.
you know, and
Absolutely.
I don't use their sanitizer because somebody else done touched that.
Touched it. There you go.
So,
yeah, it's really sad that we have to do this. But if let me give y'all some key things that I do. I have to change my toothbrush once a month. I don't use my toothbrush no more than 30 days. Or reason being is bacteria. It builds up in there. And so, I mean, think about it. So if I had a cough, oh, my throat feels a little sore, right? I go, I brush my teeth, right? There's bacteria in my toothbrush. So what I have to do is I have to discard my toothbrush and get a new one. Because guess what? I'm putting that same bacteria back in. And then I wonder why my throat is still sore. Why is my throat still sore? Same with my purse, y'all. You know, we take our purses and you hear the old saying, don't put your purse on the floor, right? You know, that kind of saying. Well, yes, true. But it's also bacteria where you place your purse. You come into the house, you put your purse on your kitchen table, your countertops, your beds, you take your jackets and you take it off. Stuff lands on you. You're walking and the pollen in the air, dust, bacteria, whatever is landing on you. You take it off, guess what? You placing it down on your items. Guess what? That absorbs right up in there. The type of furniture that you have in your home, it absorbs, it picks up. You know, all of that plays a major role. If we had a little, what is it called? That's the scope or microscope, you will be amazed. And a lot of people can't visualize that. You know, but when it comes to, and I couldn't when I was, you know, developing in phases, but now everything is with the keen eye. I have to. It's very important because I don't know what I'm expecting. Like now, I used to let my husband and my children just walk through the house. I clean the carpet and it was okay. It's not like that now. I need your shoes off at the door, you know, because we don't know what you're bringing in. Son, don't put your backpack on your bed. Why? You didn't put it down in the dirt, you know, for football practice. You didn't put it on the floor by your desk. We don't know what you're picking up and transferring every day and you're bringing into your home, you know. So it's invaders. Hello, they're here. They're coming. They in you. They get you.
I look amazed now because I just never thought about it and I'm real good about putting my pocketbook on the counter.
But think about where your pocketbook being.
But I've known about that because they did some kind of a study years ago, and I can't remember what study it was, but they tested the bottom of a woman's purse, and it had all kind of strep and E. coli at the bottom of her purse. So I knew about that, and I also knew about the toothbrush because whenever I have, you know, 4 kids, you have a daughter, but my kids have gotten, what is that, strep, and they always say, once you finish the antibiotics, you know, throw that toothbrush away so you don't get the strep again.
But see, it's not just for that. It's a daily thing. So if you came home and you like, and you don't know why, now you're drinking a little tea, discard your toothbrush, discard it. You know, you need to start out with a fresh toothbrush. And if you're still sick and using that toothbrush, when you're done, discard it out one. We buy the $1 little toothbrushes because we go through them so much, you know. As you can see, it gets the job done, but in the midst of it, we have to, it's very important, you know, because what you put in, you know, is sometimes don't come out.
Right.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Look at that. I just looked at it like you said, just, you know, food stuff. Wow. Okay. I've been educated this morning. Thank you. Okay. All right. So let's talk about, oh, Chantel, you had something else? I'm sorry.
I was just going to ask about the types of lupus, but if you have something before that.
No, let's dive into lupus. Let's talk about
that. So you have SLE, you have DLE. There's multiple other forms of lupus, as you guys read. And I don't want to get too deep into it, but I want it to be easy for people to understand what it is. SLE affects your liver, your organs, all internal body parts, internal and external. DLE, I'm saying it wrong, but DSL or DLE or one of them. Yeah, DLE. That one is a skin disorder. And sometimes too, you can have both. Like me, I have both. With SLE, baby, it affects you get a butterfly effect on your face, look like a cute little butterfly. You can even get it on your back for today, your arms, your legs, and they can be little white little spots, white little botchy spots, right? Sometimes you won't have it at all and still have it. So just to kind of break those two down, other ones, it remains with the liver and your heart, and, you can just be completely fatigued all the time. And, they didn't put a title to that. Everything is title driven today. So, but I have SLE and I also have DLE. And part of that is because I have the butterfly effect on my face. And I done tried everything under the sun, you guys. I done had needling. I have had hydro something. It's a cream that you put on to help for, they call high pigmentation, then low pigmentation, to put on my skin to try to blend it in. I've had tests where they go in and pull my put holes in my back and pull my skin out so they can test it. They found nothing, right? But your medulla, it's internal, feeding off your bloodstream, just like your hair and everything else. So guess what? Whatever you're dealing there is what determines this. So I found every season, my skin texture, my skin color changes. I learned that from myself. And it's like, I'm so dark in the summer. Why is that? They tell you to put sunscreen on, right? Where it's a certain type of sunscreen you have to use, or it's going to clog up your skin. It's going to clog up your pores. You're going to end up breaking out. I'm telling you, a year ago, I ended up with adult acne because listening to my dermatologist, it's important that you wear sunscreen. You have to wear sunscreen. Well, sun's supposed to cause cancer in for certain people. We have to stay away from sun. And it's not because it makes us darker. It's because the layer of our skin is so thin that it absorbs in the vitamin D that it needs, and it's too much, we become fatigued. So if we out in the sun too long, it's like, oh my gosh, I'm overheating. I need to go. I don't feel good. And in my book, I tell a story about how I went up to Austin just to walk the river walk, you guys. I call myself, me and my husband, we're going on a trip. We go to San Antonio, to the Riverwalk. And as soon as we got there, got into the hotel, I was so excited, y'all. My blood pressure was just like, let's do this. Oh, I'm going to get on this boat, just really, really amped up. Get down from the hotel, take the elevator down, step off onto the Riverwalk. And I go, I don't feel good. I look perfectly fine. My husband, like, you don't feel good. Your stomach hurt, thinking like you got to go to the bathroom or something. No, I'm fatigued. Immediately fatigued. It was too hot. It made me nauseous. I got fatigued. I couldn't even walk. He had to hold me. So I was like, okay, I can do this. So let's keep trying. Right? So we walk, we get over, we pay to get on the boat so that we can take the look, paid. I said, okay, well, let's just at least take a picture, let's get a picture to show, we were here or whatever. Took the picture and I almost fell out. He had to literally take me back upstairs. And I think I slept for almost a full day before my body was able to regenerate what it was needed in order for us to get back together and get on out. And that was the end of our trip. It was time to go back home.
Oh my
so
goodness.
yeah, so your environment, your sun, everything, when it comes to having, these two different autoimmune diseases. And I try to make it bring out real life experiences for people to see that even when you have a skin disorder, or you have it internal. Selena, the celebrity, she didn't know, and she had to get a liver transplant or something, or from her friend who happened to be in the same blood, her same, DNA from some form, and she was able to get a donor, and that saved her life. But she still had complications, and they don't say that. She still has issues because she still have it. They just saved her from one of the organs that the autoimmune disease was eating away at.
Right.
you know? So, and it's people like her, we need to come out and talk about these things, because people think she's fine because, oh, she got the transplant, she's doing well, but no, she's dealing with stuff. As long as she has, an autoimmune disease, she's going to be fighting, and she financially can be able to do that. So things is a lot easier for her. For those who don't, and not financial, we lose them. We lose them because they can't afford to do what she did, and guess what's on our death certificates? Unknown, because they don't test for lupus, or you can't detect when someone passed away that it was lupus that caused them to lose their lives. So it's unknown cause of death.
Why can't they detect that once they pass?
Because so our invaders, remember, they're fighting and they're fighting good and bad. They could be done. And everything's at still. And when everything's at still, we're good. We feel good. We're okay. It's not, we don't have fatigue. We're not sending off signals. So when you test my blood today, think my numbers look good, because my white blood cells and my blood cells, they're not fighting each other. They're not going through whatever they're doing in there. They're not having a battle. So if they're not having a battle and I go get my blood work done, those numbers look good.
Mm-hmm.
They like, okay, you're good, Tanya. Go ahead and you have a good day, okay? And then something can trigger. I can drink acidic drink and my body go haywire. And then I was back in the hospital. Well, you were just here. What happened? I don't know. We don't know.
So, and so when the heart gives out or whatever happens,
done.
And your body is, like you said, done, that when they do an autopsy, they're not going to see all the turmoil because now the body's at rest. It's not. Wow.
Yeah. But I've seen some parts where it says, well, I guess that's the family that puts under that in obituary, complications of lupus, but it's not on the death certificate.
And they will do that because they know they've dealt with it for so long. So when it's my time to meet my maker, guess what? They're going to know that that's the issue, unless something major happened out there that said it was a car accident or whatever major. But until then, my family knows. So it will show. People will say that, in their obituaries. But if you request an autopsy and they can't find anything, and I've been dealing with lupus for over 30 years, it's unknown. Cause of death, it's unknown. I'm sorry, we don't know what it is. Well, what do you mean? She had lupus. We couldn't find that. We didn't, we couldn't, nothing determined she had lupus. And so that's it. That's it. Mm-hmm. So yeah, so, it's not an easy battle. This realm is so, I don't even know the word to describe when it comes to being able to understand it. That's why it's such a hush hush. That's why cancer is different from cancer, right? Because we can see it. It's taken our breath away. We gotta, have body parts removed, and we see a lump. We got to take that out. You have an actual physical being to be able to determine when you're in your body when it comes to that. So that's big, right? But when you have a secret invader in there and they can't catch it, it's like paying cops and robbers. They robbing you daily. And your goods, anything good you put in, can't find it.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, I take 4,000 milligrams of vitamin C every day. And then I can have the sniffles tomorrow. It's just not enough.
Oh, wow. I wanted to talk about am I saying it right? Vitiligo.
Vitiligo. Mm-hmm.
Vitiligo.
Mm-hmm. Michael Jackson and
yes.
And they have a supermodel, I think, that has that. But go ahead. Mm-hmm. I'm sorry.
Because you mentioned the butterfly effect, right? Is that part of that too, or no? Okay.
But here's the thing: when I went to get tested for that, that's exactly what they said I had. They were like, oh, and then that's when I was telling you earlier, we're going to take a sample on your back and we're going to go and get and test, you know,
Right.
and determine that here's some topical, treatments to put on your skin. And I mean, we went through all of that, but guess what? It was not it, because I think I went a year and a half doing all of this. Nothing changed. Nothing changed. And test results came back that I didn't have it, because there's a certain bacteria that they look for in when they pull, take a sample of your skin. It's a certain, pigmentation that they're looking for to determine if it is vitiligo. Okay. And I didn't have it, and so then it was like, well, you need to see a specialist. And I think as I was talking in my book, that's when I had to make the determination to go see a specialist, and I would have to get in a machine that they used back then for people who had cancer. And I would come out smelling like fried chicken every day.
I remember you saying that.
Yeah. And so that didn't work. And and so mentally it affects you. It really do, because we go based on the doctors and what the doctors say. We rely on their word, especially when you find out you have something so detrimental. You say, hey, oh my goodness, I need your help. And you rely on them, and they're supposed to be your safe haven. And in some cases, they're specialists. They don't know, and all the things that they were taught, and they go down that list and it's an unknown. I'm a special rare 1 in a million case, because they can't find the answer, right? So, and that's what happens. People have it. Michael Jackson had it. He was treated. I went through the same treatments because I actually had his specialist. Oh, wow. And he was housed. Yes, I had, and it was so, my stuff, is covered now. And I found ways to treat my skin over the years. However, when I did, and you can really, really see it, they was clueless. And I live out in the Frisco area. So I had doctors who was of another color, and they would recommend me, to so many different people, so many different specialist ladies. And when I tell you, nobody could find the answer, they sent me to Southwest Medical Center to see, some Black doctors. And then that's how that led to me seeing Michael Jackson's specialist. He had to fly in to see me, so I would see him once out of the week, and then the other specialist. I was a sample, a test dummy. Yeah, I was their test, because they could not figure it out. Michael's was very clear. And then he was able to get treated, and the treatment that they was trying to give me as well, as you would do an injection, and it's some type of fluids, but it would change the discoloration of your medulla and your skin. So that's how Michael's color became even all over. Some people go over the top with it, like little Kim. She kind of, she did the kind of same thing, but and
does she have vitiligo too?
That I don't know.
Oh, okay.
But nowadays, women are it's now a part of the new facet for our beauty industry, is to lighten our skin tone. And so before people were doing that, it was a part of a treatment for vitiligo, or people who had issues with their skin. And now it's a facet that you can go to see a dermatologist or a specialist, or, and yeah, you can get it done and get lighter now. But back then, that's what we used it for, that's what it was used for. So
let's talk a little bit about genetics.
Okay.
Talk about that in your book. And so just kind of give us an overview about genetics. I believe, and it's funny because I'm a therapist, and one of the things that I talk about and I work with, is substance abusers. And we always talk about the pre-genetic predisposition theory. And so in the medical field, the genetics plays a huge part in what happens to us physically. And so you write that in your book. Can you just give us kind of an overview of that?
Well, you actually nailed it. I can only go based on my experience. So please understand that I am not a medical doctor, but I can say, based on my experience, I had to track my family history which I wrote that your family, the one thing that I wish that people would do is talk about your health. It's very important to know these things, because if you do, then you know what to look for if something happens to you.
Mhm.
So in my family and where I come from the south side of Chicago. We don't like doctors. Our eyeball can be rolling in the back of our head and we're not going to see no doctor. We're going to stay home. We're going to put some Vicks or some old, some type of remedy to make this, a better situation. We can be coughing. All right, we'll drink some tea. We'll, Father John, y'all remember Father John? I don't know if y'all ever heard of Father John. We had our remedies, right? And prayer, of course, right? So, with that being said, I found out, you got two set of genes. You got your mom's side and you got your dad's side of genes. So my mom's side, I researched just because on my mom's side, they were healthy, but yet they were sick. But their illnesses was related to their hearts and diabetes, things of that nature. But on my dad's side of the family, we had a set of twins, for example. So I knew that twins ran in our family, right? Because we have twins on my dad's side, but one had multiple sclerosis and he, lived for a nice period of time, but then he passed away. Multiple sclerosis. Okay, let me research that. Let me find out how that plays a part with everybody else. I know some of my family members are crazy, but let's see how multiple sclerosis, what that does, So that right there was a key indication for me to do research. Now, my grandmother passed away with stomach cancer. This is what's on her death certificate. Okay, so now we got cancer, we got multiple sclerosis, and I started researching that. And I found out that multiple sclerosis is an autoimmune disease. And that played a major part mentally. And so it skipped generations. My dad has it. He has an autoimmune disease. We don't know what type, but he does. He has the butterfly effect on his skin. He never got tested though. He just lived his life out. When he wasn't feeling good, he wasn't feeling good, right? Never did he get tested for it. And so he has his ways. He ended up with cancer. Eventually, he ended up with cancer. He's only at 0.01% as of today, praise God. However, as I did the research and continued to figure it out, and I put them all together, I was at the top of the line. On that side of family, I realized they had gout, they had Graves' disease, they had all type of stuff. And then as time progressed, family members will call each other, so-and-so passed away from this, so-and-so passed. So now I'm just steady, I did my research and I found out there's the genetic. That's how important it is to know, because now my dad has passed whatever he had down to me. I went over the years to figure out what I have. Now, granted, you guys, I have children, right? So now that I have children, I have passed down some form of something. We don't know what it's going to develop into, but it will. And my daughter is already having symptoms. She's been tested. She doesn't have lupus, but guess what? She has all the signs of it. All the signs of it. Fatigue. She's everything. My boys, they're okay right now. And speaking of that, my son got on one ride. He's 16 years old. Immediately, I had my grandkids with me as well. This just happened 2 days ago to give you a live experience of how I know genetically this is affecting our family. He got on the ride. He got off that ride. We had to leave. He did not feel good. All of a sudden, he was nauseous, right? You got a 7-year-old, a 9-year-old, all on the same ride, and they like, yay, woo. He like, something's not right. We take him to get something to eat. He still don't feel good. He couldn't eat his food. This boy can eat 4 burgers, double burgers, right? He still don't feel good, to the point where he had to go and lay down. So genetically, whatever that was going on with him at that time, the 2 grandkids, it didn't affect. They on the same exact ride, right? I knew then internally something was going on with him, and only his body could heal itself to keep. And the next day he was fine, right? But you can tell from that time he got off the ride till we got home, to him taking a bath and or a shower and then laying down, he needed his body to readjust, realign, and fight for whatever that was going on internally with him that I passed on to him.
Mhm.
So genetically, you have to pay attention to these things or you'll never see it. Like if he would have got off that ride, I don't feel good, Mom, I want to go home, we wouldn't have thought nothing of it. And we would have been, ha, 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 you couldn't even ride that little kitty ride, right? Because the little kids rode it. But no, when you know that you have an issue and you have family members who've had autoimmune disease issues, you have to pay attention to it. So guess what I did for him to resolve that, to make sure that he was okay? I put all his vitamins in his body that night. You know, you need your vitamin C. You were going to double up. We're going to do our vitamin C. We're going to do our D2. D3, our K2s. We're going to put a little ginger in there. You know, we're going to put something, everything we can. I don't know what's going on, but we're going to fight back. And that's what our supplements was our way to fight back what was going on with him. So that's what I mean in regards to genetics. You have to pay attention to your body. You guys, if your eye is twitching, you will always wonder, well, why is my eye twitching, right? It could be a lack of water. It could be coming on a headache. It could be something that you heard and you didn't even realize you heard it, that affected your eardrum to cause your eye to twitch.
Wow.
But you have to pay attention
Yeah.
to those things because genetically your eyes probably twitched and watered all the time. And you had, and all you saw is Aunt Betty's eyes always watering, but that was her issue too.
Yeah.
So genetically, you just got to really stay keen and on your family to, you know, to understand.
And let me just say this, just to, and because you are 100,000% right. Okay. We as African Americans, like you said, we had rituals growing up. You know, there were things, we did home remedies. A lot of our parents' families came from the deep South and, you know, from cotton plantations or whatever, and they learned these remedies and they passed them on to their children.
Absolutely.
And when they moved up north, because I'm from New York, and you know, my mother had remedies for stuff, never, you know, and I too have an autoimmune disease. I have Graves' disease, and when I got sick, nobody, we were like, what is that? Nobody heard about it. And so my doctor, which was a really good doctor, she said, I need you to look back and see who else has this. Now and you're saying this, but normally doctors don't ask you those questions, but she did, okay? And she was a Jewish doctor. And so understanding lineage and heritage, she said, and so my grandmother was living at that time when I first got sick. And I asked her and she was like, I never heard of that before. I never knew anybody who had that.
Because it wasn't called that then.
Right. Well, it probably didn't have a name for it. They just kind of dealt with it.
They dealt with it.
And here I was really sick and nobody seemed to know about this. And then as we went on, and I don't want to mention the family member, but I have a cousin who is a year older than me, but she is, we share, our grandmothers are sisters. Okay.
That's genetic.
Maternal side.
Right. Our grandmothers and sisters. And I happened to, one day she called me out of the blue in the midst of me having, you know, at first it was thyroid disease. Now I have Graves' disease. But I was telling her how sick I was. And she was like, oh my God. She's like, I have that too. And I was like, what? You know, and I mean, this is out of the blue. She told me this, and I would have never known where this came from, but I found out it's from my mother's side that has, you know, thyroid disease is prevalent in our family. Well, in that, again, not sure which, it's my mother's side. It has to be my grandmother's side, maternal grandmother's side. And unless you talk about this, and that's the message you're giving us today, unless we talk as a community and as a family, we won't know when things, and it's so funny you bring up, You know, when my eyes are watering, it's because they're dry. They're extremely dry, and
Absolutely.
okay. And I didn't know that until I started going to the eye doctor. Because I do every 6 months, I go to the eye doctor, because now I have something called thyroid eyes. And so I have to constantly get things done to my eyes so that I won't lose sight. You know, I mean,
Absolutely.
there's so many things that I learned over time. And so as you're saying this, this is so prevalent that unless genetics are so important, and if we don't talk about them as a community, as a family, we won't be able to save and preserve our lives.
And so here's the thing, let's not talk to them about the terminology we use today. Let's tell them what we're actually going through.
Yes, yes.
Do your, you know, are you having a hard time swallowing? Let's not say, you know what, I have Graves' disease. Did you hear anything about that? Or do you know, because that's how we're missing the link.
Right,
Because
they
we
don't
got
know
all
the
this
name.
new, right, we got all this new terminology. So when I was talking to my grandmother, no, baby, no, but I used to do this, that, no, I don't know why I swell, you know, and then, so we're not on the same page.
Right.
So it's important that we do talk to them, but we got to bring
Come
it
down to their level
and let them hear our actual symptoms, what we're actually going through. You know, we don't have to tell them we're going through it, but put it in a terms where they would understand it that way. Like, are you having headaches? You know, have you had any headaches lately? Are they frequent? You know, and things like that versus, you know, migraine, you know,
right.
Even though migraine's been around for a long time, but a lot of people are like, oh, I ain't got no migraine, because of the myth that goes on with those terms that, and then we miss it. We miss that key, we miss it. So
And
it's great to know that.
And that's why I want to emphasize your book helped us to understand that, because it's in simpler terms. Even though in the very beginning you give the terms of those that I can't pronounce.
Yeah. Thematic. I still have a hard time saying it today too.
So when you was talking about the bacterias and stuff, those are some big words. I can't pronounce them. But
I was looking at that too, because I thought it was interesting what she was saying. She made it understandable. Don't, if you have to go to the bathroom, go now. Don't hold it. And she gave reasons why. And
yeah. And I like that it's in simpler terms, so that everybody can read it and understand it. Let's you talk, and I'm moving ahead a little bit because we've kind of talked a lot, and again, you need to read the book.
Yes, it's a good book.
Okay, because then you will get the understanding. We're just doing an overview, but read the book. Okay.
But what I want to say is, you see how we're enthralled in this conversation. We've talked to her before, so we've heard this before, but we're still finding information that is relevant and pertinent, and it's like every time we speak to her, we find something new. So get the book.
Especially that's relevant to today as we go through this pandemic. I mean, people are, and you know, let's talk about that for a minute. Let's talk about that, because we're going through an outside fight while others are going through inside fights. What are your thoughts about that? And that doesn't have anything to do with the book per se, but what are your thoughts, just general thoughts about that?
So it does kind of relate to my new book that I'm writing, which is between marijuana and CBD. Okay, because internally, I have found a lot of people who have autoimmune diseases lean towards CBD and weed and things of that nature, so that it helps to, you know, temporary fix the situation. So I've written another book pertaining to that. But I want to talk about COVID just for a second, if you guys can don't mind just me explaining. I want to honestly just come out and say, we hear so much stuff pertaining to how important it is to get this shot, including our own culture. We fight the power, let's do it, right? But if you really think about it, you've heard a lot of stories too, that when I took it, my eye swelled, or I'm a little tired, or it got my heart racing. You had some side effects, right? If you put that in somebody who already have a compromised body, immune system, what do you think it would do to them? And nobody has taken a step back to think that I have Graves' disease. I don't know what's going on internally, right? I know I have it and I've been diagnosed at. And so with that, if I go and I put this, I know the chemicals that's in it because CDC will tell me what's in it, but do I really know what's in it, right? And so doing that, we fight every day to determine a decision on what to do because of what the world is mandating. Like you can lose your job. People are losing their jobs. Students have to go to college and be forced to take this shot, right? Or take this jab is what they call it. So with that being said, I have to honestly say that my doctor has not recommended me to take it. Part of that is because my immune system is so compromised, she can't determine if that's going to help or not. One of the things that we did to help find out if I could take it, so for those who have taken it and is okay with taking it, is that they sent me to an allergy doctor to get 72 shots to determine what I'm allergic to. One of the ingredients that's in one of the shots is magnesium. What's the name? I think it's magnesium. And so if you are not allergic to that, then they say, it's okay, take the shot. It has magnesium in it. But you have people who are allergic to magnesium and don't know that they're allergic to it because one, they just had tremendous diarrhea, or it took them to the hospital and they don't know what the cause was. But overall, check your CDC, research it, look at every last one of them and the ingredients. They got all your information planted right there. And that will help you make the decision if in turns you want to be able to take that, or not, if you want to be able to utilize that source or not. So, and that's how I was able to determine for me. So that's what I just wanted to tell you. It's a battle. It's a fight that people deal with every single day. The conversations are so big. They're all over the news. But yet we forgot about a whole lot of stuff that's been going on in like the president and his situation, right? Not the current president, but the past president, So it takes us, the media takes us out of our realm, to focus. They're guiding us and directing us on a mindset, on way they want us to think, And I just want to say, let's bring our own mindset back. Consciously, we have control over our minds. We're the ones who make these decisions. We're the ones that can tell ourselves that it's going to be a good day. We can make things happen only if your mind is set to that point, And I know that you have autoimmune disease. So with that being said, you have to get up and say, I'm gonna put this lipstick on today. You told yourself that, right? You told yourself, I got strength. I'm going to pick these glasses up, honey, and I'm going to put them on. And that's what I say day to day, that we should focus is clearing our minds and getting our mindset to the point where we make better decisions.
I want, go ahead.
Because I want to say something else that I want her to talk about coping as we wrap up and talk about coping, but I want to add something that else is good about this book. Dr. Bias provides, and I'm going to try to show it to y'all. She provides a dictionary that allows you to be able to understand. I talked about words that I couldn't pronounce, but she gives a dictionary on top of that so that you can help to relate and to understand. So I just want to encourage, as people purchase this book or want more information, you have covered a plethora of information in this book. It's a small read, but it's a powerful read. It has a lot of information. And again, I have like more questions, but I know we're running out of time. But and so we'll definitely have you back about CBDs and marijuana, because you talk about that in this book too. You talk about book 2. So we will talk about CBDs and marijuana. And that's another topic that I would love to talk about. And so we'll have again. I'm sorry, Chantel, go ahead.
She has some other stuff I want her to talk about because I don't know how she's doing all of this. I really don't. That's another story. Because she also has, is it a vitamin line?
I have a full hair care line
Hair care
along
line
with multivitamins. Yes,
with
ma'am.
multivitamins. So I don't
Yes.
know where she getting all this time from. We have to talk about that because I need some of that. But
But I'm determined, you know, with the grace of God, I'm very, very, very determined. And the reason why I created this hair care line is because when people are immune systems are tampered with, we hear a lot out there about, oh, just put this on there, put this on there, do this and do that. Well, it's just a coating, right? So I wanted to create something that will penetrate through your scalp to technically help with inflammation. When you wondering why your head's so tender or something of that, or your scalp is really itchy or you have hair loss, you know, I wanted to create something that had all the right vitamins, minerals, and oils that was needed to put in your scalp, not your hair. Because when your hair grows, and I'm a licensed cosmetologist for over 20 years too, you guys, just to let you know. When your hair grows from your hair shaft, it feeds off your bloodstream.
That's right.
Right?
That's right.
So what you put in your body affects your bloodstream, right? So it also affects your hair.
But
so
let me add, when you have an autoimmune disease, your bloodstream is affected and it damages your hair follicles.
There you go.
That's what happened to me. So I
there
know.
you go.
Yes.
There you go. And I created I created a system, shampoo, conditioner, a leave-in, and a growth serum.
okay.
And then I created all the multivitamins that you need in your body to go along with it.
Do you have the picture? I mean, can you hold one up? Or
I'm not at the warehouse. All of it is at the warehouse.
Okay.
Bias. We got to have
right. I told her I wanted her to talk about this.
I'm sorry, you did.
New every time.
Yes.
Oh, goodness. We just need a whole session on hair
Dr.
care,
Bias.
skin care of Dr. Bias. Right.
Yes.
So we need to have you back again to talk about that.
Absolutely.
Because, honestly, when you do have an autoimmune disease, because again, I can attest to that, you have these flare-ups.
Yes.
And you have these flare-ups, all of a sudden you get this adult, like you said, breakout acne. And I know what it's from. My thyroid is acting up when I get breakouts, or again, I have the hair situation. So, and I know there are other people just like myself who are struggling with this process. So we'll have you back again about that.
Not a problem. But if you guys want to check out the website, it's L3onlinestore.com.
L3onlinestore.com.
It's the health and wellness. It's called L3 Intimate Contrive Health and Wellness.
And she has a podcast. We didn't talk about that.
And I definitely, yes, I have a podcast. Yes, definitely have a podcast. It's called Lupus. It Shows Me. They already.
L3 in a minute. I'm sorry, I'm right.
Yep, L3 Intimate Contrive Health and Wellness. But the website is L3onlinestore.com. You guys gonna love it. And I put the ingredients in there too, not all of them, because I want y'all to feel what you're getting, but the majority of the ingredients in there so that you can see that I'm not doing all this rice water and all this. You have this is a very expensive hair care line that I'm trying to give to people who are really of need. And when I say it's major, I mean, the growth serum, I've already got rave reviews. I launched it last month and I have rave reviews, you guys. I can't even keep these products on the shelf. That's how good it is. And you can see a change in growth with the vitamins as well. Wow. I had to cut my nails off to show. I cut them off a week ago. And I don't know if y'all can see how it's growing. They're growing back already. And I just cut them off. So I try to be that example as well to show them. I have bald spots right here using my growth serum. It's, as you can see, there's hair.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not saying it's perfect for everybody, but I can tell you the vitamins and minerals that's in there will help. It helps with inflammation. It helps with swelling. It helps with, even if you had a high, and guess what, y'all? It's concentrated. So a little bit goes a long way. You don't need to kind of like shh and do what you need to do. You just adapt. So it's worth it. It's worth your bang for your buck. It really is.
All
And
right.
like you said, we'll have another one on that one. But I would love to get some products to you guys so you guys can actually see and use it and have your own testimonies behind that. And I just want to say thank you so much. I know our time is running short. Thank you so much for the opportunity. You guys expressing how important this book is. The word needs to get out. We need to know about lupus, you know, because lupus, it chose us, but we didn't choose them.
That's right. And so as we wrap up, we want to thank Dr. Bias. Y'all go check out her book is on Amazon. Check out her hair care products too and her vitamins. And thank you for being here with us today, Dr. Bias.
Thank you.
See you next time, okay?
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.